TUF 31 reaction show, episode number 8. Team Chandler's plans for a clean sweep are soiled by Rico DeShulo, and it was a very tough night for Team Chandler as we took our first loss. Then Connor decides to celebrate by trying to fight my entire team. Hear my thoughts on that. Then we have to go into deliberation with Dana. Do I decide to lie to him in order to get the most favorable matchups for my guys to get a contract? Hear my thoughts as I break it all down with a long-haired son of a sinner, a loser who became a winner. Those are his words, not mine. I break it all down with the man who was on a rocket ship to the top, Jelly Roll. Bruce, hit him with the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time! The Ultimate Fighter Season 31 reaction show, brought to you by CarShield, hosted by Michael Chandler.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard the man, Bruce Buffer. This is the TUF 31 reaction show, episode 8, hosted by yours truly, Michael Chandler, and brought to you by CarShield. Thank you all so much for tuning in week after week. The response thus far has been awesome. Let's go through what we do every single week thus far. Go through our giveaway winner. Connor, who's our winner for episode number 8?
This week we've got Joe Breen.
Joe Breen from, you said Connecticut?
Yeah, from Connecticut.
Joe Breen from Connecticut, which is fitting because we got Rico DeShulo fighting this week from up in Boston. But for the all who don't know, the link is here in YouTube, in the description, also in the show notes on all the streaming platforms. What it is my favorite book of all time, As a Man Thinketh, a signed copy that we'll be shipping out to Joe and the other 7 winners with a bookmark inside of it of myself on a Panini card. So not a bad little bookmark, not a bad little prize. Thank you all so much for tuning in every weekend or every week and being a part of the giveaway. Now, let's get into episode 8. But with me today is a phenomenal talent, a phenomenal man, a great friend of mine, CMT Breakthrough Artist of the Year, CMT Video, Male Video of the Year, a loser who just keeps on winning, a long-haired son of a sinner, my man, Jelly Roll.
Baby,
what is up there?
Love you, brother. Thanks for having me, man.
That acceptance speech, like I said, man, we said, hey, the losers won tonight, man.
The losers win,
gave
baby.
me chills, dude. It was so good, man. Just getting to know you, watching. I mean, right now has got to be absolutely ridiculous for you. So for everybody who should know, right now is probably the craziest time of your life, as it should be. And you blessed me with your hour or two to sit here and do this. So thank you.
Stop it. You're humble. What Mike's not, what Mr. Chandler's not telling you is I requested this. I was like, yo, you got Ernest on this thing? And I haven't got a call. Ernest, one of my best friends. So it's like I take it personal when Ernest does something and I don't. And I'm like, oh, how did Ernest do this? And I didn't do it.
You're here, bro. And I'm very, very happy to have you, dude. And especially on episode 8, which was kind of a tough one for Team Chandler, dude. We were 7-0, going for the clean sweep. And then my man, Hunter Azure, Rico went out there and did what he needed to do. So it was a tough episode for Team Chandler. I mean, the amount of people that I've met over the last 8 weeks or so, like, hey, give me some inside information. Did you sweep them? Did you win every single fight? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, God, I wish I could say yes.
Dude, I don't want to jump to the end of the episode early, but when you said this brought the human element to the show for you, it was like, it reminds you that life is going to happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I hate to make a teachable lesson out of it, but it's, it's like the epitome of like, life's going to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Life's
That was
life
life
you.
just lifing, dude.
Life is going to life you. Well, especially in this sport, but even just in life in general, it's like, hey, never ever get too comfortable with what is, working. Like you could be knocked off your horse at any given moment, man. The rent is due every single day, right? I think what I said was, we just got so used to watching the boys in red just keep on dominating, getting their hand raised, and then all of a sudden, boom, it brings you back down to holy cow.
I think Hunter even got comfortable in the beginning of that second round. He just had such an incredible first round that you could just tell he was a little more like, he wasn't as eager to push the pace. In the first round, he tried to tie it up immediately, and he left just enough room for here. Now, first of all, is this my camera?
Yes, your
camera. This is my camera. I want to make sure I get something here, y'all. Listen, I am a musician, a father. I'm the furthest thing from an athlete ever. drink, and I'm an obese person. I have no right to sit here and judge anybody's athlete. That's one thing I thought about when I walked in here. I was like, I can't believe I have the audacity to talk about other people's athletic stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do a podcast talking about other people's workout ethic.
Yeah.
But from my super amateur view, it looked like he kind of felt like he wasn't in danger.
Yeah.
You know, that he kind of lost sight of that moment of danger because, boy, he looked like an absolute killer
in the first round for sure. Well, and we can do that, man. That can happen to you, man. We get so desensitized as fans, whether you're watching a fight or even us watching our teammates or me in a fight. I'm like, hey, man, my foot's on the gas pedal. Everything's good. I'm coasting, man. Nothing has gone wrong thus far, so nothing's going to go wrong. And all of a sudden, boom, 4-ounce gloves. You zig when you should have zagged, you get caught, and then boom, before you know it, you're looking up at the lights like, what the heck happened?
It's already a different thing. I mean, dude, y'all get out there almost ass naked with oven mitts on.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And barefooted. And they're like, all right.
4-ounce little
with
bitty.
like 3 rules. You know what I mean? Don't fish hook, don't kick in the nuts. You know, like the smallest, like don't eye gouge.
Very small.
You know, so it's crazy.
It is, man. And you can get comfortable, and then you can also get caught, man.
Do you think that was an element to that fight? Do you think Hunter was getting comfortable in the second round? Do you think he just could he have rushed into what as a coach? Looking back,
I think actually one thing I will say, when you go back and you look in between rounds, you can see me coaching, and I feel like Hunter had a little bit of a deer in a headlight look. You know, and it's so tough. Obviously, I don't. This is the first time I get to talk about one of my guys losing a fight, but I've obviously talked about me losing fights. And I'm very critical of. I'm very honest about my self-assessment as well as assessments of other fights. But I don't think it was as much confidence in the fact that he was in such control. I think it was more, okay, I just dominated. Should I just do the same thing that I did, or what should I do? And Rico, what they didn't show there too, the way Rico jumped up, you know, he hawked that loogie or whatnot, and then he did kind of stumble a little bit, but there was a moment there where Rico he screamed something. They didn't show it. Like Rico just got dominated. And then Rico, came back to his corner, and he's jumping around Boston strong. And then I think Hunter was a little bit like, dang, I just emptied out the gas tank. I just threw 1,000 punches. I need to get back to neutral. And I think he took his foot off the gas a little bit, but not in a cocky sense, but more in a sense of like maybe a little bit more control. Maybe it was a cardio issue. Maybe it was, whatever. So it was, I think from a coaching standpoint, I think what got him to the dance that first round, he should have just kind of gotten his face a little bit more and not given Rico that space.
See, I think I speak for the average person watching this, and from my just super average experience of this would be the concept's unknown to me. I can't wrap my head around the concept of laying on top of a grown man and beating him bloody for 5 minutes, and then that grown man getting up and talking crap.
Yep.
That grown man getting up like, oh, you messed up, dude. It's on now. You messed up. We get to try. Like, that's insane to me on both ends. Like, one, the crazy dude that gets straight up with blood all over his face, hawking blood loogies, and just like, oh, okay, no, I'm back. And the other dude sitting there like, man, I just put the hammer on this guy for the last 5 minutes.
Well, that's tough, man. I mean, I've had that recurring dream in my mind. Like I've literally had the same exact recurring dream like 10 times where I'm on top of somebody. I'm just like beating the crap out of them, and they're just smiling at me. Yeah. They're just like, hey, anything you do, and I think it's not actually a physical fight. It's more like a spiritual element of like, hey, I'm going through something right now. And I think, but back to the human aspect of that, I think Hunter was like, dude, I just hit you with every single thing. You just jumped up Boston strong, and you're freaking running back to your corner, and you're like, dude, I'm coming after you. I think there was a little bit of an aspect of that, because that's tough, dude. There's nothing like beating the crap out of somebody, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, thank you, sir. May I have another? You're like, okay, well, at some point I might start going downhill.
That was my biggest fear anytime I got in a fight in jail, was you throw somebody everything you got and they eat it, and you're just like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was it.
Yeah,
I threw it. I was counting on that to be the one. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't.
That was the one I expected to put him out. And then you're like, okay, you wipe off the blood and you keep coming out. You're like, oh shoot. And I think that was kind of part of it, unfortunately, And Hunter, his exit interview, man, tears in his eyes. I just want to make my family proud. And it was those exit interviews are so tough, man. Because, they're out here. This is the greatest second chance he ever could have asked for. And, he, in his mind, blew it, and he still was going to get a good look. Hopefully he, ends up in the UFC still, but it's a tough position.
What was his spirit like leaving the show? I know you probably can't talk about it too much, but.
No, it was, Hunter was always very, very quiet. always a very quiet, reserved guy, you know, and you even talked about that in the locker room. Like, hey, are you meeting the guy where he's at? You want to amp him up? You want to cool him down? Where do you want to be? And I met Hunter where he was, and Hunter was very, very even keel.
Yeah.
Speaking very softly, speaking very confidently into him. So he was quiet going into the show. He was quiet during a lot of the training. The most yes sir, no sir kind of guy. I'll run through a brick wall for me. Just tell me what you do and I'll do it. But then after the loss, man, it's the cool thing about it was we didn't have any other scenario like this because he was the only one who did lose. But the next week he showed up and he was training with all the guys. You know, he's got a big old cut on his head, but he's still there doing what he can, serving other people. You know, so his spirit, man, and it's tough too, even for me as a coach. He's still my guy. He's not in the competition anymore, but I still wanted to get those moments where I was like, hey man, I know you're going through it right now. You have to be going through it. You know, I know you're not going to admit it. You're not going to pull me aside and bend my ear and take my time away, but I know you're going through it, dude. What, you know, can we talk about it? What's going on? You know, we had a couple conversations, but you know, it was my only scenario like that because obviously all my other guys won, but it was tough, man. But he's got the indomitable spirit, man. He's an Indian reservation kid from Wyoming. Yeah. He's resilient. He's got his 2 boys at home. And he had a decent spirit for, you know, watching his dreams shatter on ESPN.
Yeah.
You know?
Golly, the biggest network in sports.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, so it was tough.
Yeah, when you were talking to him in the locker room, that's when I asked, I don't know if y'all roll those clips back, but I was like, are you meeting him there? Because I've seen you in the locker room with I think it was Kid or somebody. It was a little more energy. But I think what I loved about this show is it's showing your emotional intelligence, right? Because we only catch you in sound bites, right? Like as fans, we catch you in sound bites or maybe a 20-minute press conference. Or unless you're on the bus, we don't get to see like long form of you or like get an insight into your real thought process. You know what I mean? And to me, that reeked of emotional intelligence to see exactly where that guy was and be like, all right, I'm right here with you where you are. Swallow a gnat?
I just had some water go down the wrong pipe, dude. It's actually a really emotional moment too. I'm like, Jelly thinks I'm crying right now, but really the water went down the wrong pipe.
I'm sending these praises and Michael Chandler's over there fucking beat red going balling.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think that was one of the hardest aspects of the coaching because ultimately too, I'm just a pugilist, dude. I fight in a cage and I got a decent amount of coaching aspect to me, right? But ultimately I have to be there for guys and meet them where they're at.
Right.
Gosh dang.
Take you a sip of water, this, dude. You'll feel better.
I'm blowing it. This is a good question.
Pour more water on it. Yeah.
That's good. But yeah, knowing where guys, you know, Roosevelt, I brought up Roosevelt Roberts, Jason Knight, and then I also brought up Austin Hubbard, Kurt Hollabaugh.
Right.
4 completely different guys from the aspect of, you know, Jason Knight needed to be, you know, he wanted to be pumped up a little bit. Roosevelt Roberts wanted to be pumped up. He loved the fact that he fought first. He loved the fact that he was the guy leading the charge. Austin Hubbard was back there doing breath work and kind of a, hey, you know, you can talk to me, but I don't really need you to talk to me type of vibe. And you can kind of feel it. Kurt Hollabaugh, same way. So just kind of, and these fights were back to back. You know, you go from coaching one guy like a Roosevelt who you're like, I gotta hype him up. I gotta get him pumped up and ready to fight, go kill somebody. And the next guy's like, hey, I'm right where I need to be. You know, I don't.
And you're having to sort through this within 6 days. Yeah. By the way, is the crazy part. Yeah. It's like a complete turn switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, that's the guy. Now, it's a totally different approach coming in Monday to make sure this guy's ready.
Ping pong ball bouncing back and forth.
Are you talking to them about their weight? Are you having these conversations during the week? Are you having these real talks?
Yeah, that's that's one of the hardest things too. Because you asked about weight classes. I think part of my, you know, half of my crew at 155 probably could fight 145 if they wanted to. Right. Some of my guys at 135 could maybe make 125. You know, you're going into this thing where you're there for 4 or 5 weeks. It's hard to keep your weight down. You know, I fight 155 and I'm going to drink a gallon of water. All of a sudden I'm 160 or 163 or something like that.
Right.
Then all of a sudden I drink another gallon of water. I'm 170. You know, these guys could balloon up to the 180s. Most of them were kind of staying in that upper 60s range. Right. So yeah, you're talking about the weight. The good thing is I was nervous about one weight cut, and that was Cody Gibson the first time. And I was completely wrong. He went out there and just crushed it. He was there at like 5 a.m. working out. I got there at like 7 or 8 a.m. and ended up finishing the weight cut with him. But he nailed it. He crushed it, you know? So, and then some guys where I'm like, oh, this dude ain't cutting no weight at all. Who was, Roosevelt Roberts, which we'll get into later on. But, there's something that happens with him at a weigh-in, I think it'll be next episode. But he didn't have a hard weight cut at all, yet he was struggling like crazy to make weight for that second fight. So you never know, man. Weight cuts are one of those things where bodies kind of shut down and where it just doesn't give you any more water weight anymore. It's like, hey, I'm not sweating anymore. You're like, wait a second, I need you to sweat.
And they got nutritionists in there helping these guys, right? Or they just kind of leaving them to their own vices. Just say, here's a meal plan. Or
yeah, I didn't actually. I would help guys with certain things if they had any questions or whatnot, or I would give them my kind of walk on fitness. Like here's my kind of dieting, if you will, that I can't give out to, the average person because I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist or whatever. Right. Connor had a nutritionist or something there, but what can you really do in a 5-day period?
Right.
These guys are making weight in 5 days.
Yeah,
so.
they're just having to water load the first 2 or 3, right? And then just suck it dry the last 2.
Suck it dry. Yeah. They had saunas in there. They had the portable saunas where they'd stick you in the little cube thing. They had a big sauna there. Actually, funny thing, now that I just think about it, dude. So I want to bring something up because you said you were like, dang, dude, that's like the whole, because you saw Rico listen or reading the Bible. So to bring anybody back who hasn't been listening or didn't know, there was no cell phones, no TVs, no nothing. All they had was religious readings, right? So Rico was reading the Bible, but I broke the rules a couple times, not gonna lie. When my dudes were cutting weight, I would bring a cell phone and put it by the sauna and let the guys listen. And I kid you not, we listened to your songs.
Let's go,
dude.
Baby.
And it was actually Jason Knight. Jason Knight was like, hey, dude, I want to play, he's like, dude, play Son of a Sinner. Play Son of a Sinner by Jelly Roll.
Let's
so
go,
so we listened.
baby.
The dudes were listening to like 4 or 5 songs on that last album, which is actually, I just thought about that.
And that's cool because I came straight in talking about how big of a Jason Knight fan I am.
Dude.
Yeah,
like you said, you're like, man, he's so country that he was just talking normal and they had to put subtitles on.
It made me so happy, dude. I was like, that's my kind of guy right there. He's just talking, just having a conversation. It's the only time you've seen subtitles on, like he was Brazilian.
Yeah, he's like, like he was from some other country.
Yeah,
it's like,
for
nope,
sure. Like it was one of the Nagara brothers, and it was just Jason
just
from
talking,
down in
Mississippi,
awesome,
Louisiana. Him and Kurt Hollabaugh. You can understand Kurt a little bit more than Jason because Jason just like, that first interaction between him and Landon where he just choked Landon out 2 days before, and he's like, hey man, you knew I had better jiu-jitsu than you. I don't know why you took me down, dude.
He said, why would you take? He said, let's be honest. You knew I had the advantage in jiu-jitsu. The guy said, yeah. He said, never take down the guy that has the advantage in jiu-jitsu.
It was so funny, but that was funny, dude. Yeah, we had Roosevelt. It was Roosevelt, and then Jason fought the second week. He was in there, so Jason was kind of the DJ. He's like, hey, play this or play that, whatever. And then he requested Son of a Sinner, and then we listened to a couple other ones on that album. So it was funny though.
Love you, Jason Bubba.
Yeah, dude. I'll make sure I let him know. Yeah. So let's talk about the fight. Let's switch gears a little bit. Go right into it. We're going to pull up some highlights here. So setting the stage, at the very end of the last episode, Connor goes up to the cage and says, hey, what happens if it's a clean sweep? So even Connor at this point was kind of almost had come to the realization, holy crap, like I might lose this entire thing.
He was probably thinking he got to go home early at that point. He's like, what happens if it's a clean sweep? Do I get to roll?
I was a little nervous. I'm not joking. Me, my team, my coaches, and then also, the guys on my team, like, hey, what happens if freaking, we just go 8-0? Like, does Connor just bounce out?
Yeah.
And that's when they were obviously talking about, hey, so historically you switch teams and these guys can go over there and do a lot of other stuff. So we kind of set the stage and everybody's been waiting, hey, do we get a clean sweep? And unfortunately, we can't say that. But let's talk about, actually, before we roll this clip, let's talk about the pressure. Because you got Rico. They're 0-7. Rico gets the opportunity to be the guy who actually gets a win.
Right.
But Hunter just can't lose. Like Hunter needs to be the guy who just doesn't screw it up for us.
And let's talk about what me and you talked about is that Rico's a little longer in the tooth than Hunter, even though he's on the prospect
34,
side. I thought that was interesting.
Yep.
So he's really in there on some like, hey man, this is it for me.
Yeah. And then there's just so much pressure for both these guys. Obviously, I was thinking more about Hunter. And I remember in the locker room watching him warm up. And he's such a sweetheart. He's such an awesome dude. Great father. He trains down at Fight Ready. And I think the realization came right after Jason chokes out Landon. I'm like, dude, this is great. But I remember having that feeling like, dang, there's one place I would not want to be right now. And that's in this position where all the guys win and all of it is riding on you. That should not be something that is overshadowed here. And I'm not saying if Hunter would have fought, first, second, third or whatever, he would have had a different outcome. But man, having him fight 8th was a tough position for him to be in.
Oh, yeah. All you're hearing all week is clean sweep, baby. This is going to sweep them for us. I'm sure that was I mean, I wasn't there, but my guess is that was the chatter in y'all's training
Oh,
sessions,
for sure,
right?
man.
You know?
And then Hunter, because he knew he was fighting last whenever the fights got drawn, you know?
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, win. And then all of a sudden, probably in the back of his mind, he's like, dang, dude, it's all going to fall on me. It's kind of like being the heavyweight. Like in wrestling, the heavyweight was great whenever they started drawing. We'd be like, hey, you could draw 157 and start at 157, then heavyweight was kind of in the middle. But imagine the duel, a wrestling match between two schools comes down to heavyweight. And heavyweiight's like, dang, dude, it's all on me now.
It's all on me.
Like if I win, we win. If I lose, we lose. When really it was everybody else who fought. It was everybody else who fought the 10 weight classes before me. That really it's on them as much as me. But now I got to be the last fight or the last wrestling match.
God,
and that's where,
because if he'd have been the third fight, it would have just been a statistic, right?
Yeah.
It would have just been like, oh yeah, it's one of the guys that lost.
Exactly.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude. So the heavyweight's like, dang, dude, all the pressure's on me, man. I'm like, yeah. That's why I like being a little lightweight
And then
guy.
you got to go back to the house with these people.
Yeah.
Insane.
I know. Man. So ton of pressure for both guys, but even in my mind, even more for Hunter. And maybe that's bias. I'm very biased, obviously, because I love Hunter and he's my team. But let's roll the highlights. First round was an absolute shellacking, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like what you and I talked about, man. He just got
First
in his
round
face.
wasn't looking very good for Rico. He had his moments, but Hunter was definitely controlling the fight.
That was a heck of an uppercut, though.
Man.
If that landed, the fight could have changed.
There's a couple kind of takedowns.
Getting inside, grabbing the head, boom, boom. Those elbows right there that we're going to talk about. Goodness gracious. Cut him open in the first 30 seconds.
First 30 seconds.
Bled all
big,
over the place.
Dark, deep, nasty, thick blood.
Thick blood right there.
Pretty much complete domination.
It's like a piece of his tattoo.
One round to a clean sweep.
Rico
So then
came
second
into the
round.
knowing it is literally now or never.
See, Hunter,
I
Hunter
will
got a
say they
little
glossed
hesitant.
over a real ass whooping pretty fast in that
Yeah,
recap.
they
though.
did.
Man, that first round was a brutal beat.
4.5 minutes on top.
Yeah.
So I did kind of say they a little bit more hesitant, you know, and because I don't think it was cockiness. It definitely wasn't like, hey, I'm in control, I'm good. Caught him right behind the ear.
Overhand right, drops Hunter, and the ref calls the fight.
Goodness.
I'm telling you, man, that punch reminds me of that JDS punch.
So used to seeing
In
guys
that
in
spot.
red dominating, and all of a sudden it brings you back to the human aspect and also the reality of what this.
The reality of it, man.
4-ounce gloves and anything can happen.
Anything can happen, man, dude. And my man Hunter was doing great. And then that punch, like you said, you brought up JDS versus Cain Velasquez.
Yeah.
One of those things where it's like, oh, dude, punch him in the face. It's like, yeah, but you punch me anywhere in here, you know, nose, eyes, lip. It hurts, but you're probably not going to knock me out unless you hit me right on the chin. But dude, ear, temple, behind the ear, they're legal shots, but they have the ability to just shut the legs off. And as you saw, Hunter just went, you know, and then Rico hit him with the double-handed Donkey Kong, which was a crazy way to end the fight.
That was the first time that punch got explained to me. So if I remember right, that was the Cain Velasquez JDS 1 was the first fight ever on Fox
ABC.
or
I think.
ABC.
Yeah. Or,
It was
no,
something big.
No, you're right. Fox.
It was huge. It was a big deal. It was like the first time we got to watch them fight on regular cable, like just, you know, like, and what I call rabbit ear cable. Like when I grew up, we were broke, so we'd have the rabbit ears. You get 2, 4, 5, and 7.
Yep.
So we went to a bar, me and the homies, like, yo, the UFC. And I'm telling the person, like, you won't believe this. It's on. She's like, no, it's not. I was like, I'm telling you, it's on Fox 17 right now with Fox 17. We watched the main event. And it happened, I think it happened real fast in the first round, if I remember right. I remember JDS had that really high, his hands was really high, and he came over. And I was like, where did he hit him at that did it? And it was right there behind that ear, man.
It was one of those things because it's such a sneaky shot because we think fighting, like I said, it's a, hey, if I want to hit you, I want to hit you in the eyes, the nose, all the stereotypical places you think you want to hit somebody. But really, you catch them anywhere on that side of that head, near the ear, the equilibrium either goes out and they go on roller skates or their legs just, and that's exactly what happened to Cain. Cain went straight down.
Yeah, I'll never
know?
forget Cain drop. And we thought, you know, I was cardio Cain in that moment. It was like, no way.
Yeah. That's yeah. And it's such a weird shot to see because to the average person, you're like, it didn't look like it hurt him at all.
Yeah.
It barely hit. Or there was even, was it JDS who did that crazy spinning back kick and hit Mark Hunt on like the top of the head?
Grazed him over the top.
Literally, almost like his Achilles tendon hit him on the top of the head and he freaking fell. You're just
and
like
collapsed.
But you hit someone in the face, it's almost like you get a lot of blood, but you don't
In Mark's defense, there wasn't a soul on earth that would have picked their bingo card of Junior DeSantos throwing a roundhouse kick.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, just a beautiful one. Just perfectly, you know what I'm saying?
He probably didn't think it was going to land either.
Yeah, for sure. He was just throwing something to get him back, probably, just to reset the stage.
Exactly. Back off, dude. Oh, shoot, he's on roller skates. He's falling down.
He's like, oh, I got him.
But the first round of this fight, man, like, obviously Rico had his moment there where Hunter went in, and those elbows of Rico, like you said, you know, there's one thing about being kind of the big buff muscle bound guy, and then there's another aspect of being kind of that skinny bony dude, and that's what Rico was, man. He's got those elbows of sharp elbows, dude.
Just goodness.
Boston sharp elbows.
Yeah.
And cut Hunter on the side of the head, but for the most part, like you said, they glossed over. In about 30 seconds, they showed a highlight, but it was Hunter on top, 4 minutes and 30 seconds of absolute just domination.
Oh, just absolute ass whooping.
Yeah.
And it was crazy that he lost that fight.
Yeah, or even like you said, toward the end of that first round, it looked like the fight could have gotten stopped.
I thought it was going to get stopped. I had a moment where I was like, man, if he, you know, so I don't know what Herb's looking for, but this is getting really one-sided.
And Rico didn't look, you know, no jabs at Rico here, but because it was Hunter being a very good wrestler on top. But Rico just looked like he had no answer, no hip mobility, no hip movement, no body awareness on the ground. Hunter just had complete control. And in my mind, obviously, here I am, you know, this is our 8th fight. We've won every single fight, and now we just dominated the first round of the 8th fight in order to get the clean sweep. And I'm like, dude, we're in a good spot. Like this is right where we wanted to be. And then obviously we go out in the second, and we kind of had this kind of banter back and forth too about, hey, did he get a little cocky, a little bit comfortable, a little bit, you know, I kind of even said like maybe a little bit like deer in the headlights a little bit. And I think he kind of went out there and there was just too much space. You can't give Rico that kind of space because he was long. And then
dude, I think he had 5 inches on him in the reach, and you could really see it.
You could really see it.
Really see it when he hit him with that first right in the first round. That one right that really connected. It was like you just seen. He just felt long.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and he is, man. He's a tall guy for a 135 or so. Now's a good time to thank our show sponsor, CarShield. We're all about who's the greatest here, and CarShield really goes to the mat for vehicle owners. They're the #1 most trusted auto service protection company in America, and they're here to help protect you from surprise car repair costs. Flexible month-to-month plans through CarShield can cover up to 5,000 parts of your car after they break down. When you're covered through CarShield, you'll always have someone in your corner at the repair shop. Visit carshield.com and check it out now. Now, back to the show.
I'd like to see him and Rose fight. Rose is long too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that'd be something crazy.
Yeah, so it's interesting they don't tell the how the matchups went. But obviously, you know, after this well, actually, before we move on to that, let's talk about Conor's reaction to his first win.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
jumping around. Who did he say? I wrote down some quotes. Conor's first win, he was yelling at my guys. I wrote down some quotes, man. The dude was yelling at my team. Roosevelt Roberts was like, mother effing him. Conor's mother effing him. Yeah. Like these two, like Roosevelt would legitimately fight Conor right there at the Apex. You know, and I'd be like, oh, shoot, okay, now I gotta jump in. And funny thing is, like, my whole team would have got together and made it a melee, dude, because my dudes were on the same team.
You could see that clip the clip. If y'all are you going to show the clip? Because at the end, it looks like a bullpen.
Yeah,
of your guys. It looked like they were like, not one of them looked like they wasn't willing to jump off of whatever the 100%. Platform they were on and fist fight. Right,
they were about to go through the glass, dude.
Yeah, it was insane.
You know, and rightfully so. Conor's pumped up, you know. And so this is one of the things, you know, closed guard after 2 rounds isn't a fight. There was a lot of unfinished fights. So basically it was a stab at us for not fighting hard enough. Look at him, dude. He's about ready to jump over.
There's a lot of unfinished fights here.
He's too.
Conor was all excited. So Rose starts talking trash. And then next thing you know, them two are about to square off. It was crazy, but at the same time, it was fun because you got to see real quick, like, that our team built a very strong bond and we were all ready to, you know, go to war if that's what it meant.
You know what I call yous? Here today, gone
Here
tomorrow.
today, gone tomorrow.
Because Conor just started skipping
man's
the weight.
messed up,
I mean,
dude.
we had our little issues. We argued. We bickered. You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, we're men. You know what I mean? We got our chest out.
Team here today, gone tomorrow.
That's tough, dude. Calling team here today, gone tomorrow. You know, well, first of all, these guys were here today and then gone tomorrow. All my dudes had been cut from the UFC. So like these dudes took it personally. Like, dude, you want to say that about me? And then you finally get your first win. My dudes were seriously ready to throw down. And I love what Jason Knight said there. My dudes, when Hunter lost, we all lost, right? It's an individual sport and it's an individual competition. But my dudes, man, loved wearing the red and loved wearing the Team Chandler. And it was cool to watch and see every day. These dudes made lifelong friendships, and they would have thrown down for Hunter in that moment.
You could tell the genuineness of that too, though, man. And you could feel that in, especially with Jason and Roosevelt. They look like they were going to be attached to the hip. However, that shook out.
They were actually. That's the funny thing, man. Like that was the best relationship of the entire show. They haven't shown a ton of it yet, man. But those two dudes were just freaking best friends, knowing that they could very easily fight each other. Like knowing that they could very easily, end up fighting on week 3 or whatever it was going to be, week 4. But they're like, screw, man. We'll cross that bridge when we get it. And they're from two completely different places. Like Roosevelt, grew up in Broward County, Florida, was born there at least. He's been out in California. Obviously, Jason's down in the deep, deep South catching alligators and stuff, and they just became
He's a
good
Louisiana
friends.
kid, right?
He's Mississippi.
He's
Mississippi, and then Kurt Hollabaugh is Louisiana.
Okay, that's what I thought. I knew I had him backwards. I thought he was a Mississippi. I wasn't sure, but I knew.
Actually, now you got me questioning it, but yeah, they're definitely Mississippi and Louisiana, somewhere down there. And I know they live close to each other. Kurt and Jason do.
No, that's that little stretch right there, dude. Yeah. That's a swampy part of America. Yeah. I love it. It's one of my favorite places, dude. People just culture.
Yeah,
you just get culture. Once you get down to Mississippi, even Tennessee, man. I'm Southern. I'm country as coleslaw. But man, you get down there, dude. You start dealing with a totally different thing, man. Mm-hmm. That's a totally different culture, man.
Yeah,
especially them Louisianans, man. That bayou culture is totally different, dude.
That's where we had the crawfish boil. That's Kurt Hollabaugh on his home video. They're like, it's the best weekend ever. We have a big old crawfish boil. Invite everybody over.
Ooh, man, when they do one of them low countries, man, they're the best.
Dude, and I was talking about Jason Knight's boots because he had these lucky boots, right? And he's like, they got blood over here. They got some blood over here. He's like, well, this blood over here is from an alligator. This blood over here is from a deer. There's some drywall dust here. Yeah. Just telling his boots told a story legitimately. He could sit there for 30 minutes talking about his lucky boots.
That's some old country boy stuff, man.
You know what I'm saying? They were his lucky boots, man.
Yeah. I tell you what, I've been performing in the same boots for 8 years. 7 years. Yeah.
Dude. There you go, man. Lucky boots,
True,
man.
My lucky boots.
You and Jason Knight got a lot.
You look at all the awards. I put them on. I don't wear them except for on stage.
Dang, dude.
But they're my boots, man. They've got me. They're steel toe. They're heavy, dude. I come off stage, my feet hurt every night. But I wear them because I'll never forget. I bought them because I kicked a speaker at a festival one time and broke a pinky toe. I'll never forget it. And accidentally kicked the speaker, just kind of walking by and just hit it really, clipped it really hard. And I was like, I'm gonna get me some steel toe boots. I'm never dealing with this again.
This is dangerous.
Yeah,
man.
We don't have speakers now. Now we got in-ears or whatever. But I still, same thing goes. If I got to kick some, I can.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Oh, dude. So yeah, but those dudes were ready to freaking fight Connor, and Jason Knight's got his lucky boots on. He believes he would probably beat Connor up.
I've seen everybody else was wearing slides and tennis shoes, and he was in there with his boots.
Yeah, man. So they were ready to throw down, and it was.
You know what we call them in the South, don't you?
What?
Shit kickers.
Shit kickers. Yeah, dude. He definitely said
that's a real pair of shit kickers.
Yeah, I think his line to me was whenever he first said, hey, can you go ask the producers if I can wear my lucky boots? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he's like, to walk into the cage, I always wear these boots to the fight. He's like, I'm 11-0 in these bitches. Is what he said to me. And I'm like, all right, well, hey, if you're 11-0, dude, I'm gonna go talk to him, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
We got to have you wearing these lucky boots. It ain't even a question. Yeah. Even if they say no, you can't. You're gonna wear them.
You wear the boots.
Yeah. So,
in fact, I might not ask. It's one of them old-fashioned forgiveness is easier than permission.
Exactly. We just let you slide on in there in the big old leather boots. But dudes were. It was tough, man. Watching Connor, after he finally gets his first win, just jawing at my dudes, calling my guys team here today, gone tomorrow. And it's, my guys took that to heart.
Yeah, he was Connor.
He was Connor.
Connor's Connor, and dude. He's been consistently Connor this season, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, throwing around money, driving Lambos, showing up when he wants to show up. But he finally got his first win, so now we got Rico in the, he has Rico in the semis and my other 3 dudes in the semis now.
Yeah.
So it's it's crazy, but that it was an interesting little melee that happened there. Dudes yelling at each other, trying to freaking fight Connor, and I'm like, and I was actually real quiet because I was just like, dude, what's happening here?
Right.
Like, is this going to escalate? Obviously, if it escalates, I gotta jump in. Or I do remember once or twice where I was like, hey boys, let's just we're on ESPN here,
Yeah.
you know, because you never know what's going to be cut. There's so far 8 episodes in, there's been a lot of stuff that was kind of said that I was like, you know, and even, you know, one of the guys was like, damn, I probably shouldn't have said that. You know, I was like, no, it's all right, dude, you're good. And it hasn't made the show yet. So you never know what's going to make the show, what they're going to put on ESPN. You know, you guys want to have an image and a reputation and all these things, especially if you're not doing the best. If you don't win the show, you don't get the contract. So you want to be a guy that they're like, hey, we'll bring you on. You'll still get a fight with the UFC.
Dude,
you know?
it's scary to spend that much time mic'd up. I mean, it's
dude.
that now I can't relate to anything you've talked about when it comes to athletics. But when you talk about having a camera in your face, when we shot my documentary, shameless plug, it's on Hulu.
Yes, heck yeah.
When ABC News followed me for my documentary, I think they filmed over 400 hours.
Wow.
And they were on the bus with us at night from the moment we woke up on tour. I mean, all these crazy things happened in my life there with me to the point where you just kind of almost get comfortable with it and realize it because it was a news piece, so it wasn't a big production. Like y'all had big production. Because it was a news piece, it was a running gun most of the time. They just put a microphone on you, they got a camera, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And because it's a news piece, I didn't get to, which y'all don't either because of the deal with ESPN, I didn't get to make notes.
Oh, yeah.
They don't send you an episode a week early,
Yeah.
Michael, and go, hey, Chandler, is there anything on here you don't like? You get to go, yeah, I sounded a little goofy right there. I was a little out of breath. You know, can you switch? They don't give you, and then they send, so you think, man, you spend that much time, these kids in this house with these cameras constantly on, of course they're saying wild stuff. Of course they're saying stuff that they're having moments where they're like, and the worst part is y'all are in the middle of emotions.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, you know, this dude just won a fight or just lost. You know, it feels like everything on earth is riding on this. You know what I mean? So the emotions behind that feeling, I'm sure, like, man, I bet ESPN's got all kind of footage of people just saying wild shit.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I mean, and so far, you know, they haven't done anything, you know, too bad yet, obviously. But, you know, that's going back to that where in that moment, I was like, yo, dude, like, hey boys, let's cut it down a little bit right now. Let's, you know, don't say anything you don't want to, you know, we're on ESPN, you know,
right? Because
obviously if it would have escalated, it would have escalated and, you know, stuff would have happened and some stuff probably did happen that isn't going to make ESPN, which is good, but you know, but it was a funny little interaction there. And then you go from that straight into the exit interviews and you got,
what does that tell you about Connor? Because, like, I know how you are. Like, we're friends outside of this. Like, you're one of the smartest dudes I've ever met. Like, you're very analytical. You're very emotionally intelligent. I'm sure there was a lot of things that happened. I'd like to talk about all of them, but I guess this is my episode for this episode. So, what does that tell you? Something? Is that a small insight through a window for you?
For what he said to my team, you're saying?
Yeah. Does that say something about his emotions, his ability to hold, or was it, has he showed you anything you didn't expect? Or was that just like, yeah, that's Connor?
No, it's a good question because I think there was definitely moments where, because to me that's a moment of weakness, you know, or maybe he just doesn't care what people think. I mean, I would never in a million years call somebody, you know, here today, gone tomorrow. Right. You know, I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna. There's a lot of insults you can throw at somebody. Talk about this, talk about that, but these guys are playing with their livelihood and their futures, and they already have had to go through what they've had to go through. They were losers at and when the UFC handed them their walk-in papers and said you aren't good enough, right? And they've had to live with that self-image, right? Ultimately, it's the other team, so I'm sure Connor cares less about my team than he does his team. But even if it was the other team, I would never say that to his guys.
These are humans.
Yeah, I mean, we're all human beings. Yeah, we're on a reality show. We're mic'd up. We're on camera. We're on a competition. It's ESPN. It's me versus them and him versus us, whatever. But still, we're all human beings, you know? So maybe it is just, you know, who he is, you know? Maybe it does show a little bit about, you know, his care for people. How much does he care about them? How much does he not care about them? Then again, maybe he just got caught up in the reality TV show biz there for a moment. Maybe he wanted his moment. Because you got to think too, you're losing every single fight.
Yeah.
What is there to promote yourself about? You know, you could promote yourself as the villain real quick and just get into a nice big fight with my team.
Yeah.
You're
only, but yeah, for sure.
Because you can't say you're a good coach now. You can't say you're going to win the competition. You can't say, you know, Team McGregor is going to beat Team Chandler. You can't say any of the stuff that we signed up to do aside from Connor being Connor and calling my dudes names.
Yeah.
So it was tough, but you know, so then we go from that. That was a very interesting one because that was the last fight of the second week. And then now we got the semis, you know, in 2 weeks, basically. There's a coach's challenge on the week 3. at some point that they're going to show. I don't know what episode it's going to be.
Right.
But you know, they get done with that and then do the exit interview, and you got Hunter, you know, tears in his eyes, man. And they didn't show my exit interview either. Like I got choked up about Hunter too, man, because it was the first time I felt the loss. And Hunter, not that any of them losing would have been tough for me,
right?
But Hunter, I got so close with my dudes and just cared so much, and I thought we were about to just do the clean sweep. I felt like I failed him a little bit, you know.
And you're such a family dude too, man. I'm sure the family element. You know what I mean?
Dude, they became my family for those 4, you know, 4
But here,
weeks.
you know, knowing he has kids similar age of yours, you know what I mean?
Wilder and Wrecker, man, two little boys. You know, I think what he said, 4 and 2 or 5 and 3,
which is really close to Happen Ace, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, so we talked about them and I saw the pictures and, you know, I got all choked up looking at the camera, like, you know, just want to let you guys know your dad came here. He did everything he was supposed to do. He's a good man, you know? Yeah. So it's just tough. It kind of, like you said, brings you back to that human aspect, the human element of, oh shoot, we're fighting in 4-ounce gloves. Oh, and these guys are human beings and they have people to provide for.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They're dreamers, dude. I tell people, man, it's like, I think everybody always says athletes want to be entertainers want to be athletes, and it's just our comedians, all this circle. And I think what I finally come to assess about relationships, like why I value our friendship or Bussin' with the Boys or Bert or any of these characters that are in our lives, is like, I relate to y'all on a dreamer level. And I'm impressed at the way that what y'all did, because it's not what I did. And I hope that goes both ways. Yeah. I hope it's like, well, it's cool. You know, you wrote 1,000 songs.
Yeah.
Bert told 1,000 jokes. You spent, 15,000 hours figuring out, you being groomed to be an athlete. You know what I mean? From an early age. And it's like, I relate to these guys on this show from the dreamer element of like, these dudes on your team are like, yo, I had the dream and I blew it. And dude, I couldn't have I'm a second chance guy too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, whoa, it just hits a little different. But then you start hearing the story from the prospects and you're like, oh dude, these dudes aren't quote unquote second chance in the UFC guys, but these are, there was very few dudes on that team that were like just young talent. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's the dreamer aspect of, and we've all been told no, we've all failed, we've all, it's that ups and downs of life, man. Like you said, whether you're a comedian, a singer, songwriter, performer, a fighter, an athlete, whatever you may be, you're always open to criticism at the highest level from millions and millions of people, and you got to deal with that. And you got to be told no and then continue to move forward after you've been told no. You got to fail and then continue to move forward. You got to wear your heart on your sleeve, wear your losses on your sleeve, wear your emotions on your sleeve, and, just be here to be like, all right, here I am. Continue to throw stones at me and I'm just going to keep on going. It's just like kind of this, it's the same exact path or the same exact demeanor, just a couple different vocations, know, and that's what these guys are doing too.
No, but the difference is, and why I respect y'all so much is, for me to be a good musician, I had to write a bunch of songs that didn't work.
No.
Right? For Bert to be a good comedian, he had to tell a bunch of jokes that didn't make people laugh. Y'all had to get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
that's a totally different thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I just had to deal with the embarrassment of putting a project out that nobody cared about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, let me tell you, man, rivals the embarrassment of losing a fight, I would guess. You know what I mean? Because it's a feeling, but I didn't have to carry a black eye about it for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
neither.
I mean, I never look at it that way either, though, too. Because I mean, I've had so many physical wounds that they always heal, and I'm always fine. Yeah, and it might be stuffed up for a little while, might be swollen eye for a second, a couple sets of stitches, But it's the emotional aspect of feeling like a failure in these different moments, and it's the the human spirit being continuing to move forward, man. Like no matter what, there is no other option. Like you got to make it or you got to make it. That's it. Until you're finally just like, okay, I think I'm good now.
God,
which will be
awesome,
me eventually.
Dude. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
Thanks for the cheddar. I'm out, boys and girls.
I love that you think of it that way, though. I do too.
Yeah.
I'm even in my business, Caleb Plant is a Nashville boy, so I love him, everything about him. But he had a quote I said that I love that he said the goal wasn't to get money, the goal was to keep it. And my goal was never money because the music was different. I just knew the music would connect and I knew that money would come with that. But my still goal is that, when I'm done with this, just like a fighter, I'll be done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to linger. I'm not going to hang late. I'm not going to do 3 farewell tours. I'm not going to fake retire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when it's time for me to really ride off in the sunset, you know, it'll be a very, very, very quiet goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Dude, yeah, that's funny. That's how Robbie Lawler was. You know Robbie Lawler?
Yep.
He just retired.
Just retired this
Just
week
retired.
and knocked him out first round, first minute or something.
Yeah.
That was so fun to watch.
I know, and there was an interview of him, and he was like, "Well, in typical the way Robbie talks, you know, it's very interesting, kind of quiet cadence." And he's like, "Well, I wasn't really going to tell anybody, but I figured I needed to tell Dana." And then Dana told everybody. Like Robbie was legitimately going to go fight this Nico Price dude, knock him out, and then just quietly walk away. And everybody's like, "Hey, it's been like a year. Where's Robbie?" And he's like, "No, I'm good, man. You guys didn't know. I'm not coming back.
I'm not coming
He
back.
legitimately was going to do that, you know.
We'd have seen it when he dropped out of the USADA testing pool.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That would have
that's what
been
would've
like,
happened.
yeah, we'd have figured it out then.
Yeah.
Crazy, dude.
Dude, yeah. So,
Was that another camera?
Yeah, that one keeps overheating. You keep going.
daggum, dude. We got cameras overheating. and stuff. Is it hot in here? Phew.
I don't feel it. I actually feel better. I was sweat coming in, but I feel good once I sat
Good.
down.
So at the very end, though, it looks as though we got some team switchings. Okay. They showed Austin Hubbard versus Roosevelt Roberts. You know, we got that clip of us sitting with Dana. So I got to go in, and Dana, you know, Dana's, the executive producer's like, "Hey, you're going to meet with Dana. We're going to talk about matchups." And I'm thinking, okay, do I lie to Dana and say, "Hey, I think this is the best matchup," so that he does the opposite? Or do I just tell him the truth? And I pretty much told him the truth, because unbeknownst to me, if I say, "Hey, Roosevelt and Hubbard are, you know, maybe the two most solid guys," they're not going to match them up. They're going to have them fight in the finale, you know, in August or September, whenever it's going to be. So all the guys sit down. Basically, all the 135ers want to fight Rico on my team. You know, they want to like, "Hey, I think Rico was the best draw. All my guys were tough, and Rico is tough, but not as tough as my dudes."
Right.
So we sit down, and I remember this. I was like, "Man, did I screw this up? Trying to be true to myself. You can go ahead and roll it." We kind of sit in there, and he's asking us, you know, who's the best matchup, or who are the two best guys? Because I thought he would separate them.
Here we go. All right. Connor, who do you think is the easiest path for Rico? Who would you have him fight? Who do you think on Chandler's team is the toughest guy, and which guys?
I know we're asking for Timor.
I think that was gamesmanship. I don't think he thinks Timor was the easiest.
Timor knows that we believe in him.
I said he was the best.
He said he was the easiest. He's got all the tools.
So it's kind of an interesting role.
And then out of your guys in the lightweights, who do you think Austin Hubbard should fight?
It's hard.
Tough.
It's really, really hard.
Who do you think is the toughest guy in the lightweights?
I think it's 50-50 between Roe and Austin. I think the most well-rounded, can get the job done everywhere is Austin.
All right. I'm cool, coaches. I'll figure it out. Thank you.
So I say that Austin and Roe were the two kind of 50-50 most talented guys, or most well-rounded guys.
Assuming that would lead to, you know, like he'd go, yeah, that's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's let these other two dudes fight somebody, get to each other and fight in the big dance.
But obviously, either he took that to heart and he believed it also, and he's like, okay, we're putting the two best dudes on the show in the show on ESPN. And like, so that's how it worked out. Obviously, Austin Hubbard versus Roosevelt Robert next week. You know, hey, do I corner these guys? Do I not corner these guys? What's it like in the training room? Because now you got to remember too, we were all teammates. Now these two dudes are freaking fighting each other. Yeah. You know, so
and one or two of them had to go to Connor's team, right? There had to be an exchange where
so
I'm anxious to see that, because the last clip, the cliffhanger for me was the dude walking and going, "Hold on, what's it say Team McGregor for?"
Yeah.
Does that mean somebody's on Team McGregor now? And I was like, and then Jason, my boy, Jason goes, "Man, they put me on his team, dude. I'll just leave."
Yeah, I know, man. Hey, we had some team loyalty, man. We had some Team Chandler team loyalty. So I'm excited for everybody to see that. I don't know when, you know, when they're going to kind of show those interactions, when all that stuff's going to happen. Obviously, right now they just left us with a little cliffhanger, but they did tell us that Roosevelt and Hubbard are fighting next week, which I think is, you know, two extremely talented dudes. And then you obviously that would put Hollabaugh versus Jason Knight. You know, finally you get the Mississippi, Louisiana hot sauce freaking fight.
You said it's been 10 years. They said 10 years, and you said they've been. Because, I mean, surely the regional circuit had to be the same.
They were
supposed
to be,
states. Yeah.
Basically the same, you know, same age-ish. You know, they should have fought each other numerous times. Obviously, you're always kind of jockeying for position. Hey, one guy goes to a feeder program for the UFC. Kurt Hollaball's been in the UFC. This is his third time. So he's been in the UFC twice. Jason Knight was in the UFC, went to bare knuckle fighting, got like 35 sets of stitches on his face. Just freaking nuts,
God, dude, it was wild. He looked like the dude from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Dude.
It was wild.
I know. I actually, my son Hap was sitting next to me, and Connor had sent it to me. Connor, my media director, not Conor McGregor, because everybody's like, oh, Connor. They're like, you talking about Conor McGregor? Yeah. He sent it to me because we were making a thumbnail, and Hap goes, ooh, what happened to his face? And I was like, oh, you probably shouldn't have saw that, son. Yeah. Like, daddy gets some stitches here and there, but that's a bad one. It might be the worst face I've ever seen in my entire life.
You realize how much, as much as we know those 4 ounces ain't much more than an oven mitt, it's crazy to see what difference they make.
Dude, yeah. Bone on bone, freaking.
I tell you what, speaking of Team Chandler loyalty, I just want to say it on the record, man, that I've obviously, watching the UFC, have been a big Conor McGregor fan.
Yeah.
But you're my fucking boy. Excuse my language. You're my boy, in case y'all got to edit that out. You're my boy.
It's all good.
And I hope you beat the brakes off of him. I'm taking my money to the bank with it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to show everybody when I post my bet before the fight. Everybody's going to be like, who you cheering for? And I'm just going to post on Instagram. I'm dropping a bag on Chandler, baby. I'm betting the farm on the boy, baby.
On the boy, baby, dude. Second round KO, dude. That's what I'm calling, dude.
Yeah, and if I'm not on the road, we're there.
Heck yeah,
that's
dude.
my word.
I will let you know.
And the best part is, because I know what it's like to have a big concert.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see you afterwards. You won't have to worry about hearing from me. I won't text you. I won't bother you. I'll just be there. And afterwards, I'll hit you like, where we partying?
Yeah, dude. We're staying up all night, dude. We're staying up all night after that epic fight, dude.
Let's go,
the biggest
baby.
fight I could have ever asked for. And it's definitely going to happen. There's still speculation that it could happen by the end of the year.
Yeah.
His manager just came out with an interview that had just happened 2 days ago, talking about it could still be happening at the end of the year. The fight is definitely happening. Obviously there's a lot of speculation going on out there. Is he coming back? The dude's coming back. Could be by the end of the year.
Good.
Could be freaking January, February, March, April. Who knows of next year?
But prayers before April. That's my only prayer. Because boy, when that sun comes out, concert season hits.
Yeah, I know, right, dude? Y'all gotta go, dude.
Yeah, we go until the end of fall, dude. We go from the first day it cracks over 70 until the first day it goes under 60. That's kind of how it works in our business. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd like it to be before April too, because I haven't fought since November. So I'm enjoying having a nice little time home, spending some time with the family, doing a lot of this stuff, YouTube and the show. And
God, your YouTube's so great, man.
We're working.
All
on
I
it, man.
see is the. Everybody's like, we know what he's doing when he quits fighting for sure. It's like your analyst game is insane.
We're doing a pretty good job. I like talking about MMA. I like talking about fights. I've definitely become one of those guys who's kind of a trusted kind of analyst guy in the industry. Quickly just trying to be like, hey, well here's how I see it. I could be wrong. So we're doing all that stuff, enjoying some downtime, and just being busy as heck, but a little bit of downtime with the family. So it's
God,
good,
that's awesome, dude. I hope you're enjoying it with the boys, man.
I am, dude. It's been good, dude. Well, dude, thank you so much for being a part of this. I know you are one of the busiest men on the planet right now, and I love that for you, dude. I love that for you. You deserve every single good thing that ever happens to you.
Well, thank you. I feel the same way about you, brother. I love you, man. We are the epitome of opposites attracting, and then finding out you're a lot alike. Ain't that how that works,
dude? I know. Isn't that crazy? Like, ain't no way they're like boys.
Yep. We are, no, for real.
What'd you say, Robin Big?
Yeah, Robin Big, baby. Robin Big, baby.
So, well, thank you, dude. I appreciate it, man. This has been episode 8. Thank you all for tuning in. My man Jelly Roll. You just dropped a new album too.
I did. Jellyroll615.com. We're going on tour. Tickets are available for we're about 89% sold out. So please help me finish selling this out. It's the biggest tour of my life. It's huge. This is my Conor McGregor fight.
Yes, dude. You deserve it.
Also, while you're here, right here on Michael Chandler's YouTube channel, do us all a favor and take the time to click the link to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button, and leave a comment. These 3 things trigger the algorithms of YouTube. It's not as the small town murder people say, it's not an ego thing for Michael Chandler. It's a help the boat float thing. So please, it takes 2 seconds just to put a couple fire emojis down there and a thumbs up.
My dude, man. Some fire emojis, bro.
Yeah, baby. Just drop something. You know what I'm saying? Leave us something, dude. It helps. You talk crap. It don't matter. It all triggers the algorithm. Just don't hit the down button, hit the like up, and say something.
My dude, man. Well, hey, I want to start. Wait, we're going to clip that. We're going to put it at the end of every single episode.
Every one of them, dude. I got you, dude. That's the one to use, dude. Like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Please help the channel.
You are the man, bro.
Love you, brother. Thanks again, Mike.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all. See
Yeah,
you at the
baby.
top.